Okay, y'all. I'm getting it, Kaka. Here, over here you go. Noir. Here. Over there. Here, y'all. Kitty, 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 kitty. Look over here. Look over here. Come on. Come on. There we go. Here. Hey, Rosemary, I'm so happy to see you. I'm having the worst time, Rosemary. I was hoping that my friends would be here. I'm in this horrible situation. Hello, Susanna. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here. I truly do appreciate it. I really need somebody tonight, this evening. Here y'all go. Here. Lockett's not going to be here tonight because Big Tom is hanging around. That was a really cute video of your kitty today, Rosemary. I watched it on both of my channels. Very cute, jumping out of the basket. Rosemary, I think I have a horrible tragedy on my hands. Something. I don't want to bring everybody down, but this is not anything good. I didn't know whether or not I should go live. I didn't know if I should put a community post out first and warn everybody that if I go live, it's not going to be happy and cheery. I didn't know. I'm just in a quandary right now. I really... Rosemary, she's the same. It's my cat Haven, Rosemary. He's missing, and I don't know where my baby is. I have tore the house apart looking for him. Hello, Alexia. Thank you for being here. So I know everybody wants happy, joy, because I see the channels that post all the happiness and they play the games and they're way surpassing me. No, it's not Miracle. It's my cat Haven. He's black, but that's not him. He's disabled. He's a disabled kitty. Hello, Faith. Thank you for being here. I don't know what to do. I have done everything I could think. I've looked every place I could think of. How could he just disappear? I don't... I don't know what to do. Well, that is a possibility, Rosemary, because I was trying to get Miracle out, and I opened the back door and grabbed Miracle's harness, and I went to show Miracle the harness, and usually that's all I have to do is show Miracle the harness and say, you want to go out? And he runs down the hall, and out the door he goes. So he could have went out while I was trying to get Miracle ready to go out. But he can't run much. So I'm thinking, well, I would have seen him in the yard. I mean, his back legs are not right. He has little tiny back legs. He does not look like a regular cat. So he doesn't run like a cat. He sort of hops in a way. And he can walk and he can run for a little bit, but it's a hoppy run. But if he got out, it seems like I would have seen him in the yard. I mean, because me and Miracle went right out after that. Me and Miracle went right out the door. I would have seen him in the yard, it seems like. So that's my problem. I don't know what could have happened to him. And so my mother heard me calling him, and she came out of her room, and she said, "Oh, there's a cat in here. There's a cat." And I'm like, I said, "Oh, let me go see." And there was no cat. And my mother was telling me about a cat in her room. And I did not see a cat. But you can't pay attention to what she says because she doesn't know what she's talking about. She literally does not know what she's talking about. Well, hello, me and Christy being rude and crude. I hope you're happy with yourself being a nasty human being. And I don't care if you like that I say you're a nasty human being, Mr. or Ms. Min Christy. Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you. Rosemary did her job as a moderator. Probably some 12-year-old. Yeah, Rosemary, I tore the house apart for 3 hours. But the thing of it is, when I open the cans, when the special big event happens, when I'm opening up the cat food cans, I hear growling. There's growling. Oh, Big Tom's here, unfortunately. There's Big Tom. When I open up the cat food cans, wherever Haven is, he hears that, and he does this little funny meow, and he comes hopping into the kitchen. Now, wherever Haven is, if he's down the hallway, if he's in the bedroom. Hello, Judy. Thank you for being here. So wherever he is, because Haven eats 3 times more than the other cats. I mean, he's obsessed with food. He's always hungry. So when I start opening cans and I didn't see him, I'm like, uh-oh, for their special feeding time. And so, hello, Cheryl. Hey, Cheryl, thank you for being here. So I'm like, well, I kept opening cans, and I went to every room with an open can of cat food. Not that there's that many rooms. And that's when my mother said, well, I saw a cat in my room. And I'm like, so I went in that room. I went through all of them. Of course, most of the rooms are closed off because my mother does not want cats in them. The back, all the back except for the bathroom is closed off because a cat cannot go in there with her fancy furniture. And so he would have come out when he heard me opening them cans. So that's what's concerned me. And then I got to thinking about when I was going out with Miracle today. Cheryl, it's Haven. My black kitty that's disabled has the little tiny legs and the pinky tail. Kind of flat squishy head. His head's not shaped right. And hello, Charity. Thank you for being here, Charity. But so wherever he was, he would have been. He lets out this loud yell, like that when he hears me opening them cans. He gets so excited when it's feeding time. Of course, they all do. And all their boxes, I have all kinds of boxes out for them. So I started taking all the cardboard boxes, because it's like a cat sanctuary in the house. So I started taking all the boxes and anything that he could have went behind, just throwing it out the back door, like where could he be? And I put on my headlamp and was looking everywhere I could look. And so my only thought was, well, maybe he did get out when I was trying to get Miracle ready to go out, because I left the back door open for Miracle to come running out. That's because that's what Miracle does. I open the back door and out goes Miracle. And let's look at Kaizera. Yeah, I mean, he could theoretically be hiding, Rosemary, but for him to not come out when he hears me open the cans, I mean, he just gets very excited. He eats way more than the other cats. Hello, Sydney Cat. Thank you for being here this evening. So, I mean, he really is a big, big, big eater. For him to not come out when I was opening up the cans was what I don't know. So that's got me to thinking about how I had the back door open when I was trying to get Miracle to come out. And I let Miracle go for a walk without a harness today, because we were taking it slow. It's cooler than normal here. This is weird weather here. So I said, come on, Miracle, let's just go into the woods. And Miracle went for a walk just like he was on his harness, but he was not. It was a naked Miracle in the woods. Well, hello, Betty. Thank you for being here this evening. So nice to see you. So, and me and Miracle were outside for a while. So if he did get out and I was paying attention to Miracle, he could have had an encounter with Big Tom. But I didn't know Big Tom was here. I would not have let Miracle go for a walk without his harness if I'd seen Big Tom. But Big Tom just showed up. That's my only part of the cats were here. Hello, Danny. Thank you for being here. Let's see. We didn't have Locket or Moo here this evening because Big Tom's back. I haven't probably seen Big Tom in 2 weeks. So that's why I felt safe taking Miracle out for a walk without the harness, because Miracle's going to follow along. If I ever think Big Tom is in the area, I will keep Miracle on a harness so I can grab that leash and pull him close and pick him up, because Big Tom has charged us a couple of times. Hello, Bruce. Thank you for being here. Nice talking to you this morning, Bruce. So, I'm in this position of, if he was in the house, he would have came out. I have but I usually keep even my mother's bedroom door closed because I'm trying to keep the main room air conditioned. And so, but my mother said, "Oh, there's a cat in here," and when she was coming out of her bedroom, But she, she says things that don't make sense. She says the majority of the things she says don't make sense. And so I said, "Where's the cat?" And she's pointing at the floor, and I saw no cat. So I thought maybe Haven had been in there. So I went all through her room and her closets and in her bathroom. And I said, so I tried to, talk to her, what cat was it? Where was the cat? Oh, I don't know anything. I don't know. I don't know. We went back into that I don't know loop. And I said, well, did you see a cat? I don't know. But you said you saw a cat. I don't know. And I said, but you remember when you were coming out of the bedroom for breakfast, you were saying there was a cat in your room. I don't know. And that's all I could get out of her was, I don't know. I don't know. And I said, but don't you remember? She said, I don't know. I said, we were in a loop in there of I don't know. So maybe she didn't see Haven. Because that's what, made me get all excited. Well, Haven was in her bedroom, and that's why I couldn't find Haven. And, well, he was in there, he was invisible. And I had such an anxiety attack. I thought I was having a heart attack. And so I called my friend down the road, and I said, I think I'm dying. I think this is it. And I said, my cats need to go to the Delta, the River Cities Humane Society of the Delta in Monroe, Louisiana. They're on Desire Street. It's the only no-kill shelter in the area. I said, do not let my cats go to a regular shelter. Please promise me that my cats, because I said, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I think I'm having a heart attack. And I said, please, don't let my cats go to a regular shelter because they will put them to sleep. Nobody will adopt out these cats. The shelters are overflowing. There's news stories about how the shelters are so full they cannot take any more in. They said, don't bring your cats to the shelter. And I'm like, well, this is the regular shelters where people drop off their pets. I said, don't let my pets go there. So she wrote down the name, and she said, you just need to sit down. You need to calm down. You need to calm down, get you something to drink, some water, go watch your birds eating, do something to calm down. She says, this is not good for you. And I said, I'm so worried about what's going to happen to my cats because I'm dying right now. I'm dying. And and because that Haven is a special needs cat. He is special needs. He's not as smart as the other cats. He's not as able-bodied as the other cats. He's just not a regular cat. He always needed special attention. And he's never not came for food. Never. He's always been there for dinner. Always. So, I don't know where he could be. My heart is just shattered in a billion pieces because I pride myself on taking care of them, and somehow or another he's just gone. I even heard the dogs across the road barking, and I went towards where I heard the dogs barking, thinking he was there. Um, I've tried everything I could think of. But if he was in the house, he would have came out for food. So the only thing is I can think of is that he went out while I was getting Miracle ready to go out. I mean, it wouldn't worry me as much if he was a regular cat, Rosemary. He's not a regular cat. He's a special needs cat. Um, he is disabled. Um, and I walked all around the yard. I went to the field. I went to the road. I've looked everywhere in the house. Hello, Katie. Thank you for being here this evening. I truly do appreciate it. Thank you all for being here on a very difficult day for me. My Katie, my cat Haven, who is disabled, is missing, and it's just like a mystery if how he where he what could have happened to him. Yeah, he has Rosemary. He likes to go run around the field, but I don't let him go run around the field when it's hot because he does seem to overheat. He does seem heat sensitive. Like Miracle's heat sensitive, but it was not that hot today, so that's why me and Miracle went for a walk in the not the early morning because in the summer normally me and Miracle can only go for a walk early in the morning because of Miracle's heart murmur. But it was like not super hot, so we went out there. Then when we came back, is when I went to give them their treats, and then I didn't see Haven. Oh, thank y'all. Yes, I do hope. I don't know. Yeah, Rosemary, for us to get to the woods, we have to cross the field. So me and Miracle crossed the field to get to the woods, and I didn't see him. Like I said, me and Miracle went out right after I opened the back door. I would have seen him. It seems like. But I suppose if he gets hungry, he will show up. Well, we have this uh, total piece of crap, me and Christy back here again. Could somebody kick this MIN Christy out of here, please? Judy Haven is my black cat that has the birth defect. He's the one with the kinky tail and the little short legs. Thank you, Sydney Cat. He'd already come in here and said something nasty earlier when I first came on. So I'm hoping that he did get by me, but my whole fear is that if he's outside, and something chases him, he can't get away from it. You know what I mean? Um, he's got his little short legs and the little kinky. His tail's all kinky. He has his own little playlist of him being outside running around the field, and his head's kind of like not as rounded as a regular cat. And he's never looked out of the window. You know how all cats love to go look out of the window? He has never done that. We have Ethereal here. Um, like all cats love to look out of the window. That's their thing. That's what's going on outside. He has never. I don't know. And I always thought his eyes seemed not right. I always thought he had vision problems also. Because his eyes never looked right to me. And he never played with toys. Like he was just always different. He never played with toys. He never, he was just different. Even as a kitten, he would wrestle some with Elysian. Um, there we go. But that was about it. I thought they were finished eating, but apparently they are not. They're ready for more food. There's little mini Moo. Big Moo will not be here because Big Tom is here. Yeah, I always get some on the oh, he can't climb, Rosemary. He can't climb. He cannot climb. He cannot jump. He can't climb or jump. He is literally a disabled cat. So he can't climb or jump. I haven't even had a shower yet. There's a big panel truck going by. I haven't had a shower. I haven't eaten. I've done nothing but look for Haven since this around 1 o'clock today. And just frantic. I'm like, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. Oh no, it's my chest was just hurting so bad, but apparently I wasn't. I know it's just a panic attack. Because my cats are my family. I don't have anything but my cats. I always said I had my mother, but my mother is alive, but she's not here anymore. Does that make any sense? If y'all have ever been with anyone who has dementia, alive but not here. She is not here. My mother is gone. Whoever and whatever my mother is gone. And that's, I was talking to my friend about that. She's talking about, she has a son, a granddaughter, and a great granddaughter. And she said about that's all the family she has. And I said, my only family is my mother, and she's gone. I mean, she is physically here, but whoever, whatever she is not here. Um, there's little to no communication with her, and I have a cousin. I don't know if y'all remember me mentioning a few months ago my cousin's son had gotten cancer, and he was like only in his early 20s. And the only reason I knew that my cousin's son had cancer was because I had inadvertently ran into her at Walmart. She didn't call me on the phone and said, by the way, I just wanted to let you know, my son has cancer. Nope, I ran into her at Walmart just like a random, like if you run into Mary Jane or Betsy Sue or whoever at Walmart and you'll get to talking. She didn't call me and let me know. And I have called her and sent her text saying I'd like to talk to you. Danny, she's still here. Her dementia is getting worse. But thank you for asking, Danny. I'll send her text saying, thinking of you, hope your son's doing well, things like that. No response. I will send her text for her birthday. I'll send her text for everything. Just thinking about you. If you have an update, let me know. Nothing. Nothing. Yeah, that's how I feel, Katie. I'm mourning that I've lost my mother, and I mourn the loss of my mother, even though she has not passed away. Here's Ethereal getting his snuggies. And the thing of it is, with the outside cats, I'm sort of braced for the fact that one day I could come out here and one of them is not going to be here. Something will happen to them. I'm emotionally prepared for that because anything can happen to a cat who lives outside. I know that. I try to not get a huge attachment to outside cats. And that's easier said than done, because who cannot get attached to little Ethereal here? And he's just so cute. How can I not get attached? And he's so snuggly. Is he so snuggly? But I have to prepare myself. A dog could get them. They could get out into the road. Another cat could come and hurt them. So I always, and I've had a lot of outside cats and never with good outcome, unfortunately. I do, Judy. I can't help it. I get attached to them. Look at that. How can you not be attached to that? Look at that face with that little white spot. And especially the ones you pet. I have like some, like the black cats I can't pet. Moo, I can't pet. Like last year, it's been about a year ago. It was July. I had a big tabby cat. No spots, no white like Effie. He was just a solid tabby. And I'd had him for, how long? Let me think. 5 years. He was 5 years old, and he just one day didn't come back. He was just gone one day. Never knew what happened to him. Um, so and I could never pet him, but I still got an attachment to him. I fed him for 5 years. He would come near me, but no pets. He was in the same litter as Edo, my tuxedo cat y'all see all the time. Miracle's mommy. And he was wild, Judy. He was wild. Ethereal's going to sleep here. We'll look at one of the kittens. We'll look at the kitten. There's little Minnie Moo. So even though I could never pet the big tomcat, I still fed him for 5 years, and it was still difficult when he didn't come home. And so I always try to brace myself with the outside cats. Yeah, Katie. I'm an older person, Katie, so I've experienced the loss of a lot of cats because I've been around so long and I've had so many cats. It never gets easier, but I've learned that no matter how much money you throw at the situation, they're going to go. I've had, back when I had money, which I don't now, I would tell the vet, I don't care what it costs, any amount of money, save my baby, save my baby. Like, we're coming up, and I don't want to think about it, in a few weeks of the 5-year anniversary of me losing my cat, Ori. And I visited Ori's grave today and cried. It's been 5 years. I still cry. And, because I'm thinking about it. But 5 years ago, I had money. And when he got sick, I told the vet, I don't care what it costs. Save him. Save him. It was $900 for him to be there one day for them to tell me he's going to die. He's not going to make it. And could you give us $900, please? I'm like, I would have rather have her, okay, I would have spent anything. But I spent the $900 for nothing. They should have told me, did a more thorough exam and said FIP to begin with. There's a chance it's FIP. We can't save him without me spending $900. Yeah, vet care is outrageous. Yeah, vets are, and I've just learned when it's time, it's time. I know they have to make their money. I know that. They're a business. They're not just a doctor. They are a business. Um, they have to make money to stay open. And I know about businesses because I've never done anything but work for businesses. Yeah, Cheryl, that was a cute video. I watched it on both of my phones. Yeah, it was just, cats love clothes baskets and boxes. And I've took all the boxes and thrown them out the back door looking for Haven. Now the cats are probably saying, hey, where's our box? I think, Rosemary, they can take advantage of us because they know how much we love our pets. And I've noticed when one passes away, they really say, oh, well, we have services for that. They push their services when your cat's very sick and is still alive. I don't know if other veterinary practices do this, but they will say, well, we do have a service where we can have your cat cremated and it comes back in a special box with the paw prints and the a piece of fur, and it's only X amount of money. It was like a lot of money. It was like an outrageous amount of money. Do other vets? Yeah, I figured they do. I've heard people talk about it on videos. And that one person, their cat they'd had for like 15, 16 years, passed away. And it was a polydactyl. I hope I'm saying that wrong. Polydactyl, one of them six-toed cats. And they got back the ashes and then the little paw prints. And they looked, that's not my cat's paw print, because my cat had 6 toes on the front, both paws. So this guy calls him up and says, hey, you got something wrong. This is not my cat's paw prints. And they said, well, give us your number, your order number. And like, yes, sir, this definitely is your cat. And he said, well, then you must have cut one of his toes off each paw, because he had 6 toes. And they're like, oh, well, they didn't know how to respond to that. He didn't. Let's look at the sunset. I got a shift. There's the sun. We'll look at the sun for a little while. Yeah, it is expensive, y'all. Yeah, I think it was about $400 for when Ori was dying. They were like, well, we could take care of him for $400 or something like that, or close to it, 3-4. And I said, no, I have property. I said, and think about, though, when Ori passed away, we were under a state of emergency. We were hit by a hurricane. Ori died a little after 9 o'clock at night. The next morning I woke up, we were supposed to have a tropical storm warning for, it was tropical Hurricane Laura was going to come up through the middle of Louisiana. I woke up and they'd already said, the vet said, we will not be open tomorrow because we're under a state of emergency. We will not be here because, if he dies here, you're not going to be able to get him. You're not going to be able to see him. Even if he lives, you're not going to be able to see him because there's not going to be anybody here. Because, a state of emergency has been declared. So I wake up the next morning and it's a hurricane warning. I'd never been in a hurricane. I don't live on the coast. Everybody thinks Louisiana and the coast. I live 300-400 miles from the coast, nowhere near the coast. And, well, I couldn't even bury Ori immediately because we had to leave the house. I had gathered up the cats and left the house. We sat in the field for 8 hours until the hurricane passed. And, well, there were so many trees down and there was no electricity, so there was no stores open. I couldn't even go buy a box to put him in. Literally, I could not buy a box. I always go get a plastic storage container. Nothing was open because there was no electricity in the entire area. And so I had to take one of my sample boxes from my business to put him in, which was 3 times too big. But I could not do that until several hours later. I mean, it was just one of those things where everything happened all at once. And we did not have electricity here for 5 days. Yeah, Cheryl, a veterinarian might have went to school for a long time, but they can and do make mistakes, unfortunately. And if someone had told me, if they told me with a diagnosis when I first went in there with Ori that he had FIP, if they had considered FIP and checked him for that immediately and said he will not live, I would have took him home. His last day would have been spent at home. He could have spent that day at home with me and my mother. My mother loved Ori so much. And he could, instead of being in a cage listening to barking dogs, he could have been at home with me his last day. Hello, John. We're talking about sad things here, John. You might not want to join in. So, if they said, let's check for FIP, and it would have saved me $900, and it would have, he would have not spent his last day in a cage. With all those dogs around. I wish there was a place where the around here that was, or separate, to where the cats were not in the same area as the dogs. A cat is afraid at the vet with all those big barking dogs. Cheryl, there's so many things in life we second guess. And I do that all the time. I'm like, what if I had just done this? What if I had just done that? What if I had done one thing different? What if, I do that all the time. Like, well, maybe I should have done this, or maybe I should have done that. What could have I done differently? And then I go and feel all guilty and everything. So, yeah, I mean, and it's hard not to do it. I'll lay in bed at night trying to sleep, and I can think, oh, I could have done that different. I should have done that different. Oh, I should have noticed they weren't feeling good sooner. Maybe we could have done something. Look up and show them your pretty face. They want to see Effie. There's Effie. Let's position you around like that. There he is. He smells something. His nose is working overtime. Yes, it is. Yes. He's looking around for something. Something's going on. He's just a baby. Or Big Tom. He might be aware of Big Tom. Everybody's been jumpy since Big Tom's here. I could do without seeing Big Tom. Yeah, I mean, and it's not just with your cats, or for me, it's not just with my cats. It's everything in life. What if I could have done something different? Like, what if, and I have to try to stop doing that because the past is over. That's finished. The future is not guaranteed, and we need to just think about today. Let's try to get his face. He's hanging his head down. They want to see your face, Ethereal. Look up. And so it's like, well, if I had a person, if I just said no to this or yes to that, and what if I'd tried harder? And I mean, that to me applies to so many different things in life, business and money and people and relationships. And, if I just said, get out of here a lot sooner, it might be my life would have turned out a bit different. But you know what? Maybe everything happens for a reason. Are we leaving? He's leaving me. Maybe he wants another snacky. Yes, he's hungry again. So yeah, I think about, no. So I think about that for everything. What about this? What about that? And then I second guess everything. And then, well, then maybe things turn out the way they do for a reason. I know. I always think about everything I do. I could be doing better. I hit a wrong button, y'all. I hit a wrong button. I overthink everything. I will lay in bed and literally not go to sleep. Literally be laying there and the sun's coming up. And I'm like, well, it's time for me to get up now. And go the whole night with no sleep. This is Kazera, Miss Puffy Tail, Judy. See the poofy tail? Poofiness. Oh, she hears him. And because I'm overthinking. I can't turn it off. Yeah, that's what Bruce calls her, a ladder cat. I was talking to Bruce this morning, and Bijoko was meowing for breakfast. Of course, Bijoko's already had a lot of breakfasts at that point. And he said, "Who is that?" And I said, "It's Bijoko." And he said, "Is Jibigo?" he never could. He never could get it right. So with Kazera, he just calls her Ladder Cat, and he calls Sabra Rescue Kitty. I do kind of have complicated cat names. I do have a name for the new wobbly kitten, but I'm gonna make a special video and announce it. But right now, I'm just concerned with Haven. Now, he's going around here to try to get on my back. You're not going to perch on my back and dig your claws in, Effie. Nope. We're not doing that this evening. Oh, we got a cat climbing in this little thicket over here. Let's go over here. Oh no, he's coming down now. There's a kitten in there. Oh, there they go. Hey, Locket's here. Locket wasn't here earlier. Locket, are you hungry? Locket! Yes, that was Minnie Moo. Big Moo is not here because Big Tom is here. Locket, are you hungry? Come here, Locket. There's still some food. Come here, Locket. Come here, Locket. Locket, look. Here, Locket. Here we go. Can I have my chair, Ethereal? Can I have my chair? Will we share the chair? And y'all know Santy Am. I've made a few videos of Santy Am taking my chair. And Santy Am's the one that goes in the woods with a miracle. Santy Am will not go outside. Something has happened to Santy Am. Santy Am used to spend most of his time outside. He used to only come in a few hours and they're like, I gotta go back out. Santy Am was mostly an outdoor cat. And something has upset him and he will not go out anymore. If he's back there near the back door and I open it, he'll run back away from the door. He is terrified of something outside now. I don't know if it was Big Tom or what. Oh, Katie, I have a good memory. I can still remember people's orders from when I had a business. I can still remember their orders. Like, she bought this and she got this and she got these matte colors with this kind of glass and that kind of frame. We framed this. And some of that stuff is 20 years ago and I still remember it. Katie, a lot of the times it does just come to me, but most of the time I think about it. And sometimes I make up a name. My new wobbly kitten, she's very wobbly. A lot of times I name them after Oregon. I'm obsessed with Oregon. And a lot of them are named after Oregon, like Kaisera with the puffy tail is named after Kaiser, Oregon. Santy Am is named after a river in a region of Oregon. And I have a Salem, and I also have a Salem named after Salem, Oregon. And but like I usually put a lot of thought into my cat's names because I usually intend to have the cat a very long time. And I think their name should be special because they're a special cat. Now, Locket's called Locket because of his white patch. See his little white patch. And Noir's called Noir because she's black. But, and Miracle's called Miracle because he's a miracle. Miracle's definitely a miracle. And, I think Bajoko was 6 months old before I ever got him a name. And now my cat Tuxie, half the cats that are tuxedo cats are named Tuxie. And I named him Tuxie with no intention of keeping him. And he was tame, and I thought, well, I'll capture him and neuter him. But he had to come inside for recovery. And he liked it so much, I put him outside, and he was like, oh, I don't like that. So he already had the name Tuxie, and I'm like, oh, if I was going to know he was going to be part of the family, he would have got a more elaborate name than Tuxie, because that's so. Half the tuxedo cats in the world are Tuxie. You scroll through Instagram wherever there, see a black and white cat, Tuxie, 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 Tuxy. It's Tuxie. So, so Tuxie has a very common cat name, but the rest of them I tried to go outlandish with, like some of them I made up, like Savora, Mistiera, yeah, except for Tuxie, and like I did say, a lot of them are Moo. A lot of people name cow cats Moo, but I can't pet Moo. Um, and a lot of black and white cats are also named Oreo. Bruce has an Oreo. It's very common to see a black and white cat named Oreo. And the black and white cat I had before, Miracle, he was Oree, Oree. And they thought, oh, he's named after the cookie. And I'm like, no, he's named after Oregon. Me and him are going to go to Oregon together. I said, so it's not Ori for the cookie because he was black and white. It was Ori. Me and him were going to go to Oregon together. And so he's going to be my Oregon cat. But he only lived for 3 years. So. Oh, Cheryl, you said you were gone for vacation for a while. Did Twinkie go, or did someone look after Twinkie while you were gone? If you don't mind me asking, Cheryl. Okay, a friend looked after her. Him. I don't know what said her. I bet there was a lot of excitement when you came back home. I bet it's like they were like, hey, I tell you, but then I missed you. Now, my mother really loved Ori. Her and Ori had a great relationship. He would sleep with her. I have pictures of her cuddled up with Ori. And he'd sit in her lap more than mine. I was almost jealous of my mother and Ori's relationship. And my mother had a medical emergency and had to go in the hospital for 2 weeks. And Ori, you could tell Ori would look for her. He was looking for her. I could tell. He's like, where is my grandmammy? Grandmammy? Where's grandmammy? And when she came home from the hospital after 2 weeks, the look he gave her when she walked back in that door, like, where the heck have you been, woman? Like, I've been looking for you. Where have you been? And she was talking to him. There's my Ori. There's Ori. And after he got over his pouting of where his grandmammy went, they had a big reunion. She's like, I think he's mad at me. And I said, Mama, he didn't understand that you've been sick. Cats don't understand being in the hospital. And Kaizera is over here hydrating. Here's Kai. Kaizera. Yeah, Cheryl, I would my mother couldn't see to drive at night, so I would take her back and forth to work. So she'd go to work in daylight, but it would be dark when she came home. So Ori always knew I'd be coming home with his grand Miami. So when my mother went in the hospital and I came home that evening without her, he was just looking around like, why isn't she here? And there'd be even times I would take Ori to Walmart to pick up my mother. And I'd have his harness on him. Ori was a harness cat like Miracle. And I would put his harness on him and put him in his little carrier, and then we'd get to Walmart and I'd let him out of the carrier and he'd be looking around. And when he would see my mother coming up to the car, he got all excited and he started meowing like, there's Grimyami, there's Grimyami. And she'd get in the car and he'd jump right into her lap. He was so happy to see her. And so when she went in the hospital and I came home without her, he did not understand why I came home without her. So yeah, he was a little pouty after 2 weeks, like, how dare you be gone? And probably confused. You know, they probably are confused about what happened. Hello, Icon. Thank you for being here this evening. Nice to see you. There's a little bit of a glow back there. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. John, I don't know if you heard me say, you came in a little late. I have a cat missing, John. My cat Haven is missing. I'm really upset. I don't know what to do. He has just literally disappeared. And he's never done that before. Never. This has never happened. And we do have Ethereal back here for his snuggles. More snuggles. Yeah, John, and it's a house cat. That's what's so odd about it, John. It is a inside only cat. It's my disabled cat. I can understand one of these outside cats disappearing. There's a whole list of things that can happen to a outside cat. I've had most of my outside cats do end up disappearing. But, you know, inside cats don't just disappear. Apparently they do. This one has. That's what I don't know, John. I'm so confused. I looked for him for 3 hours. I tore everything apart. I was throwing stuff out the back door, all their boxes that they get in, thinking he's behind something, just clearing stuff out, throwing stuff out the back door like a wild person. I had my headlamp on, looking everywhere I could possibly look. I don't know. It is a mystery. I was going out with Miracle and I opened the door to go get Miracle so Miracle could just run out of the door, which if I do that, I was like, come on, Miracle. And I leave the back door open. Miracle will just run out. You have to be really watch Miracle. Something, maybe he went out then, but I would have seen him in the backyard because he can't really, he's not very fast because his little legs aren't right. So it is a mystery. And I have looked everywhere, Judy. 3 hours I spent looking for that baby. 3 hours. I was so upset, Katie. I called my friend who lives down the road and said, I think I'm dying. Don't let my cats be thrown away. Let my cats go to the no-kill shelter in Monroe. And she wrote down the name of the shelter. I said, I don't care about what happens to me. I just care about my cats. I told her they're my family, they're my world, they're my life. They are everything. I said, that's all I care about. I haven't even had a bath yet today. I've been, I haven't even had anything to eat yet today. Yeah, Judy, they are my babies. They are my whole world. They're my family. They're my life. My world revolves around them. Um, I really don't have anything else because I don't have my business anymore. Don't have my home anymore. And correction for someone who said, I did not lose my home. I sold my home. Somebody I know, and I was on their live stream, said, talking about your situation, and she said, Tranquil's all upset because she lost her house because of her husband. And I said, what? Of course, I got to type in there real quick. I never said I lost my house because of my husband. I lost my credit rating because of my husband. He gave me bad credit, but my home was paid for. I owned my house. And I sold it to move here. I didn't lose it, and I never said that. And it kind of pissed me off that somebody I considered a friend said that on a live stream, putting that, not that there's shame in losing your house, but I owned my home. And I did not lose it. And it kind of upset me that this person I knew, but I shouldn't even say this person was a friend of mine, Katie. He is a friend of mine. And that they said that, and I never told them that my husband did ruin my credit, because in the state of Louisiana, what your husband does is no different than if you've done it. You're all in the same boat. Yeah, Rosemary, it upset me. It upset me. And I said, no, cat fight. Cat fight. I lived in my house, let me think, 13, 14 years after me and my husband broke up. And my mother actually, me and my mother actually bought him out. So we wouldn't, when we were still legally married, he had left. And we were still legally married, and he kept threatening, I'm going to take the house. I'm going to make you do this. My husband was just threatening me because he knew how much I loved my house. And he was holding that over my head. And he had a girlfriend who was less than half his age. I think he was 42, and his girlfriend was 18. And she got in legal trouble selling herself. Hello, Sir C. Thank you for being here this evening. So my husband's girlfriend was arrested for selling herself, if you know what I mean. And so he had to get a lawyer to get her out of trouble, and he needed money. So my husband was threatening me, saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And my mother said, how much is it going to take to shut you up? Because we're going to buy out your part. And we're going to put the house in my name. So my house was in my name, but my mother never, the house went into my mother's name to shut him up. And she said, because, he was desperate to get his girlfriend out of jail. So my mother, we gave him a lump sum and had to sign papers that saying when we did go through divorce, he would not claim his 50% half. And he said, well, I won't sell it to your mother, I'll sell it to you. And I said, you do know that if you sell it to me, it's the same thing as selling it to you because we're still legally married. We are legally married. I will still have to pay you 50% of it when we go through a divorce. You think I'm dumb? You piece of crap. You think I'm dumb? That I don't know Louisiana divorce law? You don't think I've talked to a lawyer several times? I said, you only get this money if it's signed over to my mother. Period. Period. You want your little girlfriend out of trouble? You want that money? That house goes in my mother's name. And but I never lost it. I lived there 13, 14 years after he was gone. And it was also the belongings, that not just the home, everything in it, that he could not come back and claim, I want that lamp, or I want the TV, or I want the stereo, or that couch, or whatever. There couldn't be this picking and choosing, I want this, I want that. Of course he broke in and took what he wanted. So even though they knew I would be working all day, that's a line from a movie, Rosemary. I know, I don't watch a lot of movies, but Rosemary, I do know that. Yeah, Katie, sometimes men can be, especially when they hit middle age, and they hit that middle age and they do dumb things. I'm sure not all men hit middle age and do dumb things, but mine did. He was manipulated by his little girlfriend. But I mean, it upset me that I was on a live stream and then this person that was a friend of mine put that out there. And I'm like, really? But my husband and his whole family knew that I would be gone all day, just about every day, except maybe Saturday and Sunday. Maybe even those days too, depending on how busy I was. And they just broke in and took what they wanted. It was like a little free for all. He took my dishes that came from my father's house. They were my father's. And anything they wanted, they just went in and took it. I had to put chains on my door with padlocks to keep them people out of my house. They stole a cat. They stole two cats. Because I had a cat named Buggy, and he was orange with a blotched tabby pattern. And he always said, Well, you'll never get that cat. He said, that cat's mine. He said, you can have the rest of the cats. But Buggy is my cat. And I came home one day and Buggy and Quinn were gone. That was worse than having a cat die, having a cat taken. Well, it was my word against his, Judy. I mean, I couldn't prove he did it. He was there and, well, no, I don't know what she's talking about. I mean, it was literally, you know, it's my word against his. He said that never happened, and his family would live there, and his whole family could have said, "Hey, we didn't see him here. He wasn't here," because you know his family is going to stand up for him. It was horrible, Katie. Horrible. But the thing was, he didn't take Buggy. He took Punky. Buggy and Punky looked a lot alike. They were both orange with blotch patterns and nubbing tails, no tails. And he took the wrong cat. So he broke in and took the wrong cat. He didn't even remember what cat that he wanted. That's how. He just saw an orange cat with blotched tabby patterns and no tail and said, "Hey, that's Buggy." And he picked and took him. But so they were whatever he wanted. And until I chained up the house, and it looked so tacky. Yeah, he just wanted to hurt me, Rosemary. He just wanted to hurt me. That's all he wanted to do, to show me that he could. And he did it up until I left there. So even though I stayed there, I think 13, 14 years after we were divorced, he still did things to hurt me by doing things to the house. Oh, John, anybody who doesn't like cats, John, anybody who doesn't like cats, no, just say no. You don't like cats, we have nothing in common. I mean, what would I have in common with a man who did not like cats? What would we talk about? Because I'm going to talk about my cats. You know, that's like a precursor. They have to be interested in cats. Period. But no, I mean, you know, if somebody wants to do something to you, they can and they will. I've learned that you're not going to stop people from doing things to you, but you can control your reaction to what they do to you. You know, you can. And what he wanted me to do was to go over to his mother and cry, "My cat's missing." You know, I cried, but not to his mother and not to anyone in his family. They never got the satisfaction. And I never went over there and said I had a cat missing. And I never went over there and said somebody's been in my house. I never gave those people the satisfaction of seeing me cry, seeing me upset, or even seeing me make an accusation. I went on with my life as far as they could see, like nothing happened. Because that's what he wanted to do. And I never gave him that satisfaction, y'all. That's right, Katie. You're exactly right. He was trying to get to me, and I wasn't going to let him see that. And he knew that would hurt me more than anything. Because he'd known me, we'd known each other when he did that. 26 years we had known each other. And he knew my cats were my world, my life, and he weaponized my love of cats against me. That's why I didn't leave him, because he said I would take your cats. And he could use that against me. He used my love of my cats against me. And so he knew to hurt me was to take a cat. And yeah, he did. He hurt me. It was one of the worst things that ever happened to me. But I didn't let him or his family know that. I never let them know that. I never mentioned it to them. I carried on like, as far as they knew, carried on like nothing ever happened. Because I was not going to give him or his family the satisfaction. I just wasn't. Because that's what they wanted. They wanted the reaction. They wanted to see me crying. Oh, my cat, Punky's missing. And the thing of it is, he didn't even get the cat he wanted. That's how much of an idiot he was. Is. He's still alive. I Googled to see if he has passed away about every 6 months. Now, he's still here. I Google his name about every 6 months to see if he has passed away. Well, see now, John, at least your girlfriend likes cats. You did learn your lesson. Because, see, it's Social Security wise, if I wait to draw Social Security until he dies, I get it all. I get widow's benefits. And there's nothing he can do to stop it. I will get his full Social Security if I wait for him to pass away. And I know how much he made in his top earning years because I was with him. And I should be able to live quite well. Not great, but I'll be able to get by. So about twice a year I Google his name to see if he's still alive. That's terrible. And I look at his Facebook page too, because he doesn't, and see if he's still posting. Not that I'm curious about what he's doing. I just want to know if he's still on the planet. Yes, Rosemary. He's last time I saw him, he was pushing 400 pounds, maybe. Yeah. But you know, my mother, when my mother was still my mother, when she was still herself, she had this saying: "The devil takes care of their own." Is that a Southern phrase? If y'all let me know, you non-Southerners, have y'all ever heard the phrase, "The devil takes care of their own"? And she said he'll live forever because he's got the devil on his side, because that's who he's in cahoots with. And that's what she always said. She said he's gonna live to be 100 because the devil takes care of their own. So, but I check a couple of times a year. Google his name. Yeah. Okay, John has heard it. John is Southern adjacent. The northern part of the South. It's Southern, John. I don't want to upset you. Yes, you're Southern, but you're not deep Southern. Because my mother is not drawing her Social Security, she's drawing daddy's Social Security. She's drawing what they call widow's benefit, and she's getting his because his was more than hers. Yes, right, John. Not deep south, mountain south. And I've always heard with Social Security, the longer you take to get it, the more you get. That you can get it at 62, but if you put it off, the longer you put it off, the higher the percentage you get. So we'll see. But like my mama said, he's gonna live to be 100. She's like, yeah, that's exactly what they do. Judy, they pick the one who made the most money, and you got to be with them for 10 years. Well, Cheryl, go take care of Twinkie, and thank you for your thoughts, Cheryl. Thank you for being here. It's always nice to see you. My good friend, who was from Minneapolis, said she'd been married 3 times, and she was drawing from her last husband. But she'd been married to her first husband over 10 years. And one night, she gets a phone call from somebody she doesn't know. I think they were in Minneapolis or somewhere up north, not from here. And she gets this phone call from her first husband's wife, the one that he was married to when he passed away. And she says, I don't know, you don't know me, but I'm married to whatever her first husband's name was, Jackie Joe Johnson. And I'm your ex-husband's wife, and I'm trying to get his Social Security, but it shows that he was married to you for over 10 years and that you were eligible to get his Social Security. Now, if you're, you know, uh, you have to, if I, you've got to sign off. If I send you something to sign off that you will not claim his Social Security or whatever. And she said, well, I'm already drawing my third husband, and you can have it. I'm doing fine with what, my, plus, her, because her third husband was retired Marines and worked for the post office. She's making plenty of money. Yeah, John, it is the longer you hold off and extend it. And what they say the government is expecting you to do is pass away and you never get your Social Security. That's what they're hoping that you'll do, that they're dangling more money in front of you like a little treat. Like, oh, I'll give you more if you wait. And then they're hoping that while you're waiting, you're going to pass away and you never get any of it. It's a trick that they're doing. So they're hoping that you delay it and you never get anything. And yeah, Judy, I think they want people to pass away and never get it. Because like what all my mother paid in, everything my mother paid in from working from the time, you know, for all those years, she's not getting any of that. She's getting my daddy's. So you know, and she always thought, well, that's not fair. I paid it in, but I'm not getting it. So she said, why can't I get mine and his? And they're like, you can only pick one. Um, you know, you can only pick one. You know, they told her you can, you know, she said, well, what about, you know, my mother was like, well, what about mine? I worked all these years and y'all took it out and I don't get it. And they said, well, yeah, you can draw yours, but you can't draw his. So she had to pick one. My luck, I'll pass away before him, because I always said the only benefit that I could ever get from being married to him was his Social Security, because I've never paid in a cent myself. I've never paid in 1 cent of Social Security myself. Never, not one penny. And so everybody said, "Oh my God, what are you going to do? Because you never uh, had a job." You know, I never did it like a regular typical job. I had businesses, and I said, "Well, I'm going to get my husband." And even if he doesn't pass away, I could still get half. You know, I could still get half of his. So even while he's alive, and I get to 62, I could go up there and apply. And he could probably throw a fit if he knew about it and saying she doesn't deserve it. But there's no way he could stop me from getting half, even while he's still alive. I can still get half while he's still alive. Well, thank you for being here, Katie. Oh, you're not okay. You're talking about Social Security. I'm trying to focus on. Yeah, that I'm worried it's going to be gone by the time I get that age too, Katie. I'm afraid it's going to be gone, Katie, and I'm going to be up a creek without a paddle because, well, it wouldn't matter if I paid it in either. That, you know, and because everything I had saved is gone because I lived off of it for the last 5 years. So I had money, y'all. But when I had to not work to take care of my mother, I lived on that savings. So I had money, but I lived on it for 4.5 years, and it's gone. So it ate through my savings because I kept thinking, well, things are going to get better or things are going to change, and all anything ever did was get worse. So I ran out of money. Yeah, but so, you know, even if my husband tries to stop it, he can't stop me from getting even half while he's alive. So, yeah, he won't like it. He did remarry, but it lasted less than a year. So, I was married to him through his main earning years. He was like 18 to, I don't know, 42, 18 to 42, something like that. So, oh, last time I went shopping, I saw just grocery shopping. I noticed how just basic things have went up. Just your basic, normal, everyday things had increased in prices. Um, Like I ate the ramen noodles because I'm trying to stretch the budget. They were 37 cents. Chopped up to 47. Just like little things like that. Like, not just, oh, they went up 2 cents and 3 cents or 4 cents or 5 cents. Um, I don't remember when those things, that ramen noodles were 15 cents. It was not that long ago. Ramen noodles were 15 cents. Like, you know. Well, rosemary, I have heard California is very, very expensive. You should come here, Rosemary. It's cheap. Cheap, 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 cheap to live here. Because nobody makes much money here. So the cost of living is humid. No, it's like a sauna here. And you know what? You don't ever get used to the humidity. Never. I've never lived anywhere but Louisiana, and it's still brutal. You don't get used to it. You, it's just like every time you open that door and walk outside, it's like you're hit by a blast of hot, very soggy air. Oh yeah, our dew points are like in the 70s. We have like 100% humidity or something like that. And it's so, like, say if we're 90 degrees, it feels like 105 to our bodies. When they factor in the humidity, it feels like 105. And it's just like your clothes are sticking to you. Oh, it's just your hair sticking to you. It's just sticky. Oh, I, I was I was watching somebody's live stream today, and they were from Oregon, and they said hello from Oregon, and I said, oh my God, I have an Oregon obsession. Could if you don't mind telling what part of Oregon you're from? And they were like, Beaverton, which is not that far from Portland. And I said, well, my dream was to go to Oregon, but my dream died. It didn't happen for me. John, I bet because you're kind of close to Washington, D.C. I mean, you're not super close, but you're adjacent to Washington, D.C. That makes the prices higher around there. That it's all those good paying government jobs. And the thing of it is, there's nowhere to work around here unless you're in the medical field or the uh, paper mill, and you have to know somebody to get a job at the paper mill. You just don't go to the mill and apply for a job, and they're like, well, we'll review your resume. No, it's all about who you know and who can vouch for you is how you get hired at the paper mill. Or Walmart, which does not pay. And I know Walmart does not pay because my mother worked there for 30 years. So I know all about what Walmart pays. Yes, exactly, Katie. I mean, there's just not many. We're very rural here, and it's a small town, and there's just most people have to drive. Um, oh, the paper mill, Katie, pays good money. That you want a job at the paper mill. Okay, I tell you, there's three houses across the road from me right now. All three people, not the main person, the person at the end of the road, they have a really nice house. Oh yeah, Walmart. Yeah, Walmart doesn't pay. But if you get a job at the paper mill, person in the first house, paper mill, the second house over here, the uh their son works at the paper mill. This person across the road over there with the loud trucks, paper mill. Somebody down the road, paper mill. That is, and the paper mill stinks, but everybody says, uh, smells like money. And if the paper mill were to close, we'd lose our Walmart and everything else. And we get all kinds of funding from the state for our little tiny hospital that we have here because of the paper mill. The paper mill employs a few thousand people. And I mean, so if you have a town that's 5,000 people and they're employing 3,000 from the area, but you gotta know somebody. But they say you can have it made if you get a job. If you know somebody that can get you on at the mill, you got it. You got it made. Oh, we got little Minnie Moo over here hydrating. There's Minnie Moo. We'll look at Minnie Moo. Let me move this back. I'm sorry, I was scared, Minnie Moo. No, there goes. Here's Kai Kai. Hey, Kai. I don't know, Katie. They're like, I don't know. They're lower here than every place else. I know. But it's because I had saw a someone had Oregon plates. So I sat in the Walmart parking lot waiting for them to come out. I was stalking a car with Oregon plates at Walmart, okay? I admit it. So when I saw them come out to go get in that car, I said, oh my God, I saw you had Oregon plates in your car. Can I talk to you? And they're like, okay, crazy person in the Walmart parking lot. And they're like, sure. And I'm like, I'm obsessed with Oregon and I'm planning on moving there. This is before my dream died. I was still going to be moving there. And and she said, okay, I know you'll love Oregon, okay? And we talked about Oregon, and she says, but the one thing you'll be surprised about when you move to Oregon is that how much everything costs there. She says things are so much cheaper here than they are in Oregon. Just the cost of living, the groceries, everything is way more in Oregon. So it will be a sticker shock when you go. And at the time, I was going. It just wasn't something I was thinking about. I was going. But, life happened. You ever heard that saying, man makes plans and God laughs? And that's what happened to me. I made plans and God laughed. So, oh, we got a nice glow going on here. Pretty glow. Yeah, everything happened. It wasn't just one thing that happened, Rosemary. It was a whole series of things that happened. money that was supposed to be coming to my mother uh, from her brother. He had to go in the nursing home. Well, that took all the money. Nursing home will clean you out and leave you with nothing. And so we didn't get that money. And I thought, well, I'm going to really cut back and start saving. And then the pandemic hit. The pandemic hit. Well, then I couldn't work anymore and then my mother couldn't work. My mother was afraid to go to Walmart and work with the pandemic because she's older and she had health problems. And so it took away my income and her income. Her Social Security was just extra money because she was still working and drawing Social Security, and I was working. And her Social Security check was just play money, you know. And then, well, I thought, well, maybe the pandemic won't last long and Mama can go back to work. And they let her take a leave of absence, but it was only for 6 months. So then she was forced into retirement. That's right, John. If it's cheap here because there's no work, unless you can get a job at the mill, or if you can work in the health profession. We have a little hospital here, but I don't know how many jobs are there. And I thought, well, the things to get back on track. This is only temporary. And then that's when I started seeing changes in my mother, and I knew I was not going to be able to go back to work. And leave her. I knew, oh, nothing good's going on here. I mean, it's like within no time of her retiring, I saw her just slip and slip and slip. Yeah, because I was deemed, John, I was deemed non-essential. And I would have customers call me and they're like, well, I've got this poster or whatever I need you to frame. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm not essential. I can't do it, you know. Even the distributor that I bought from was considered non-essential. So if I went to see a customer, there was nothing for me to purchase from the middleman because they weren't allowed to open either. And so I, having to turn business away and say, well, I can't buy anything because the distributor is closed down. Because, nobody, framing is non-essential. Nobody needs it. That's pretty back there, y'all. I don't know if y'all can see that pretty glow. But that's pretty. I don't know if how that translates to everyone watching. So it was just a whole series of events. One thing happened. Yeah, Walmart was essential. But my mother could have kept on working, but she was scared to death of it because she was in kidney failure even then. Her kidneys had failed, and she had hypertension, and she was in her late 70s, and she was terrified of getting it because, at the time when it first happened, there was no vaccine, no cure. They didn't know what to do. They were just trying to figure it out. And my mother was just terrified because she was already in her late 70s at the time. She was still working in her late 70s. And so she was allowed to take the leave of absence, but it didn't clear up before her 6 months of leave of absence was gone. And she had to, was forced into retirement. But she already had her 30 years in. She had 30 years, so she was able to get her full benefits from that, which wasn't much. Trust me. That's really pretty. I don't know. That's nice back there. I don't know if y'all are seeing that or not. If it's translating well for everyone else to see, but that's nice. Yeah, I didn't get a shot. No, I said they're not experimenting on me. They rushed it, and I'm like, let's just sit around and see what happens 10 years from now. But I heard so many people who say, oh, they were not going to be allowed to keep their job, that they were going to be fired. They would, no longer be employed at this, different places unless they took the shot. And I'm like, oh. So it's sort of like they didn't even have free will. You're forced to take something that's practically an experiment. Yeah, you still get it, Judy. I've heard of lots of people that I've talked to said, well, I got the shot, but I still got it anyway. I think the best thing to do is try to be as healthy as you possibly can. Keep your immune system strong and stay hydrated. I'm surprised the raccoon isn't out here yet. Oh, this is really pretty back there behind those trees. Really pretty. Very nice. I needed something pretty to look at. The ethereal's back in my lap. Yeah, Judy, it was rushed because it was destroying the economy. And of course, they were not going to go through the normal approval because we had to get the economy back up and running. Or what they claimed. Ethereal's back snuggling. Aren't you, Ethereal? He loves his snuggles. I think it did too, Judy. They say that it really put them behind learning-wise. And I know people who were graduating and they didn't get their graduation, and and that when people died, they weren't even letting people have funerals. And it was, yeah, it's very pretty, Rosemary. I'm sure it's not translating as well on camera. It never translates on camera as well as it does in person, but it's like a gorgeous glow back there. But it's about to subside. It's going on its way out. Oh, Rosemary, I got to go get a shower because I have not had one today. Normally I've had a couple by now. I have done nothing but look for Haven. Well, after I got back in with Miracle, me and Miracle went for our little trip into the woods, and So, and I haven't even ate yet today. I have not ate anything today. I was just so upset. I've threw the backyard's full of stuff where I was throwing everything out the back door like a crazy person. Like, could he be behind this? Is he behind that? Where could he be? I'm fearing it's not going to be good for me. Because this has never happened before. This has never happened before. And, so I do have a horrible sense of foreboding. Oh, Katie, I wish you could. I do not like to cook, Katie. I'm not a big fan of cooking. Well, I'm glad you were here too, John, and Katie, and Rosemary, and Judy, and Cheryl was here earlier. And we had some smart ass here earlier leaving nasty messages. It's probably a 12-year-old boy sitting in his basement. You know, I know a lot of people who love to cook, Katie. There's a lot of people I know who love it. I just, the kitchen's so tiny, I can't move around in it. There's no room to work. Oh yeah, y'all got rid of him real quick. That's why you have moderators. And you can just get rid of them. Well, my kitchen's so tiny. Well, it's not my kitchen. My mother's kitchen. Because this ain't my house, y'all. It's so small. There is no room to maneuver in there. There's no workspace. It makes it difficult. Because after she got her divorce and she moved here, she says, I'm not cooking anymore. She says, I'm not cooking anymore. I'm done with it. I've cooked for all those years with that man, and I'm not cooking anymore. So her interest was not in having a nice kitchen, because she was over it. But anyway, speaking of my mother, I better go check on her. Make sure she's not wandering around the house. Because she doesn't wander any much, but she might have wanted to go to bed. And so I gotta go check on her and cook something. And take a shower. And maybe I'll open some more cans and see if Haven turns up. But I do have a bad feeling, y'all. A bad feeling. Because I know Haven. I've been with Haven every day of his life. And this is not Haven behavior. So, bad feeling. Bad feeling. Kind of like in my soul, I have a bad feeling. This whole sense of foreboding. But he's such a sweet little baby. I shouldn't be saying was yet, but I just have a bad feeling, y'all. But anyway, I'm going to go in. I got things to do. I always like to sit out here and watch the sunset. Anyway, I do it even if I'm not live streaming. Thank you all for being here. Katie, Judy, Rosemary, John, Cheryl, who was here earlier. And appreciate each and every one of y'all. Love y'all. Good night, everybody.